Wait, ICE doesn't have to release detainees anymore. This new court ruling just changed everything overnight.
Catch and release, no more. It's over, baby. It's over. You know what? At least in some parts of the country, because the Eighth Circuit Court decided this one today. You see the article in Politico. Another appeals court backs Trump's administration's mass detention policy. So this is the second appellate court. I believe the first one was the Fifth Court that will now allow for ICE to detain the vast majority of people it is seeking to deport. You know, before you couldn't. You could let them go, right? Because they had to have a bond hearing and they would just be let out. And then all of a sudden they'd commit another crime. And everybody's like, well, what do you think is going to happen, right? Like, how does that make any sense? You go through all the work of finding them and then you have to let them go again. A second federal appeals court, the article in Politico reads, has blessed the Trump administration's policy of locking up the vast majority of people it is seeking to deport without a chance for bond, even if they have no criminal records and have resided in the country for decades. A panel of Republican appointees, it's those Republicans' fault, and the Eighth Circuit Court of Appeals ruled 2-1 Wednesday that the administration had properly determined the federal law doesn't only allow but requires ICE to detain the vast majority of people it's seeking to deport. That includes millions of immigrants who have been treated as eligible for bond hearings. So they're mad about this one, okay? And you can just anticipate it's going to get ugly. I mean, you got ICE at the airports. Hakeem Jeffries thinks they're going to start shooting at everybody he said it. I'm not going to run the sound again, but we played it for you before yesterday's show. Included. The ruling carries particularly acute implications for Minnesota. Okay, this is a big deal for Minnesota. It's actually going to be a big deal in, I think, Arkansas, Nebraska, Missouri, the Dakotas. But Minnesota's where it's at, baby, because you had ICE going crazy out in Minnesota. And basically, ICE then couldn't take the people that it rounded up in Minnesota and deport them because the law was always in the way. Well, now this has changed, because the appeals court has said, oh yeah, you can move forward with the hearings, et cetera. They don't get released first. So that's the distinction, and it's going to be a big deal in Minnesota. Federal district judges are bound to follow it. They have to follow it. Hundreds of people detained during the recent ICE crackdown there in Minnesota and the Twin Cities have filed petitions for release from custody by challenging the administration's interpretation of the law, and nearly every district judge in the state has sided with the petitioners. Well, now they can't. Okay, now they've got the upper court, the Eighth Circuit Court of Appeals saying, nope, you have to move forward with no more catch and release. So you got to hold on to them. So this is a really, really big deal. And it's going to cause a you-know-what storm, and maybe it's going to go to the Supreme Court, but at least in the here and now, it's a pretty significant finding for all of Minnesota. And this is in part what has everybody all worked up. I mean, they're upset about ICE at the airports. They're upset about this catch and release thing being no more in some pretty important states. But again, MAGA's cheering this because the court ruling is no more catch and release. You get to hang on to them and then process them and get them out of the country. We'll see where this goes. In the meantime, we have our favorite little Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez coming apart at the seams, you guys. She's so worked up about this news. She's like, I don't even know if I can travel. Maybe just drive. It's not that far from DC to New York. AOC.
Quick question. What's your message to undocumented Americans who are thinking about maybe traveling by plane right now? Is it safe? Is it unsafe?
I mean, we see what's happening in these airports, right? I think, even for just U.S. citizens, I think a lot of us are reconsidering our air travel. I represent LaGuardia Airport, and we're seeing the lines come out. We, of course, have supported TSA funding. Trump has rejected paying TSA. So we're in the middle of trying to sort that out right now. But obviously, it's a very dangerous time. And I wish we weren't here, but I think we are. So.
Ooh, a very, very dangerous time. I'm just wondering, maybe she might need something to calm that anxiety. Where's that doctor when you need him? The one that her campaign allegedly spent $19,000 on. He's apparently a catamine. I'm not saying it right. You guys are all on me for that. It shows what I know, right? I'm not even saying it right. But it's this really aggressive stuff that is normally used for horses. And I guess if you buy it on the street, you take enormous risks, right? We saw that with Sav with Matthew Perry. But anyway, her campaign went to this guy for, I guess, leadership training. Oh. Anyway, she had PTSD, what can we say, after J6? And she's going to have PTSD after traveling through the airport with all these ICE agents for...
What happens when people can be detained and not released? Some are calling this a massive win. Others say it's dangerous. A federal court just made a decision that could affect thousands. Here's what it means. Breaking news out of Minnesota, and this one is shaking up the entire immigration debates. A federal appeal court, 8th Circuit, has just ruled in favor of allowing immigration authorities to hold certain detainees without being required to release them on board. That's right, no automatic release. This decision backs a tougher interpretation of immigration law, expanding mandatory detention, meaning more people could now stay locked up while their cases play out. Supporters say this is about enforcing law and keeping the system from being abused. But critics, they are warning that this could strip away due process and overwhelm detention systems. Now here's the real twist. This ruling doesn't just affect Minnesota. It impacts multiple states under the same federal circuit. So the question now is, who's next? Welcome back to my channel. Thanks for sticking with us. If you're new here, do let us know where you're watching us from. Hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss a video. Let's get into the video and we'll be right back for more commentaries.
Our great Justice Department attorneys have now obtained a full stay in this crucial case. Liberal judges tried to handcuff our federal law enforcement officers, restrict their actions, and put their safety at risk when responding to violent agitators. The DOJ went to court, we got a temporary stay. Now the 8th Circuit has fully agreed that this reckless attempt to undermine law enforcement cannot stand. So the 8th Circuit Court of Appeals granted a full stay, overturning a January 16th injunction issued by District Judge Kate Menendez in Minnesota. That lower court had blocked federal immigration officers from using tear gas, pepper spray, or crowd control tactics during protests in the Twin Cities. It also restricted agents from detaining anyone who wasn't actively interfering. In plain terms, it handcuffed law enforcement. But now those restrictions are gone. So the ruling restores full authority to ICE and other federal agents operating in the area.
The 8th Circuit joins the 5th Circuit and overturns an activist judge and upholds ICE's authority to detain illegal aliens without bond. That's right. The law says that they're supposed to be detained and they're not entitled to a bond. Yeah, they wanted more illegals into the system. That's what they wanted. In a landmark victory for law and order and President Trump's iron-fisted immigration enforcement, the U.S. Court of Appeals for the 8th Circuit just slammed the door shut on a radical left-wing attempts to force catch-and-release policies on illegal aliens already roaming free inside America. The 8th Circuit overturned a Minnesota activist district judge's outrageous ruling that would have handed bond hearings to illegal aliens like Joaquin Herrera Avila, a repeat border invader from Mexico who snuck into the U.S. illegally in 2006 and again in 2016. So like this person who snuck in 2006 and 2016, that's a felony. They should be getting prosecuted for the felony and then deported. So, yeah, no. The 8th Circuit ruled that aliens present in the United States without lawful admission are applicants for admission and seeking admission under 8 U.S.C. 125B, meaning ICE can detain them without bond while removal proceedings grind forward. No more free rides, no more taxpayer-funded bond hearings for people who shouldn't be here in the first place. Writing for the majority, Judge Shepard shredded the district court activist reasoning and aligned the 8th Circuit with the 5th Circuit's recent decision in Buono Mendez.
The federal appeals court has handed a significant win to the Trump administration by temporarily lifting restrictions that had limited how ICE agents can respond to anti-ICE protesters in Minnesota. The 8th Circuit Court of Appeals put a stay on a lower court injunction that had barred agents from making arrests, detaining people, or using pepper spray and similar tactics against demonstrators absent probable cause. The move means immigration and customs enforcement officers can resume broader enforcement actions against agitators who have been confronting them during operations in Minneapolis and surrounding areas. The decision is part of the ongoing legal battle over federal tactics in the face of mass protests tied to Operation Metro Surge, the immigration enforcement surge that has drawn intense criticism and legal challenges. Supporters of the ruling say it protects officers from being hamstrung while trying to carry out federal law, while opponents argue it undermines civil liberties and could escalate tensions further.
This is far from over. Legal battles are still coming, and the fight over immigration policy just got even more intense. What do you think? Is this law and order or a step too far? If you value conversations that go deeper than headlines, hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, turn on your notifications so you never miss future discussions. Thank you for watching. Stay informed, stay compassionate, and most importantly, stay active in the dialogue. Don't forget to watch again. You might have missed what was said at the beginning, and tell me what you think about the situation in the comment section. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.